Getting ArtTable women together is always a very exciting event, and certainly fabulous, chatty, and everybody's got lots to say to one another. And the summer was fantastic, so we've got lots of catching up to do. Soho just opened, and wow, there's some amazing shows out there. So I'm just going to get right to it. This is the Artnet Artist Breakfast Talk, and we are so happy that Artnet actually is doing this in conjunction with ArtTable. And
say hello and welcome everybody to Artnet. I'm kind of going from one side of the table to the other, literally. I'm working as a director here at Artnet, and I've been a member of ArtTable. So I just want to welcome everybody, and I know that this is going to be an exciting talk with Maria Magdalena Campos-Pons, who is very involved with and highly lauded at the Venice Biennale that's currently going on. And just thank you very much.
Well, I want to thank our guests today very much. We're really looking forward to it. The committee person who put this together was Gracie Manchin. Heather Darcy-Bendari is another committee member with myself, Joy Glidden, and Sarah Marquette is also another committee member who will be speaking or introducing Maria Magdalena Campos-Pons.
So we're lucky to have Maria here with us today. She's having a bit of a moment right now and has, I heard, 4 exhibitions, not just the 3 that I was aware of right now. One of them is, of course, the Cuban Pavilion at the Venice Biennale. The other is an exhibition that just opened at Tufts University called My Mother Told Me, which is on her home turf of Boston. Here in town, she has a solo exhibition at Stefan Stoyanov Gallery, which is on the Lower East Side and up through October 27th, so if you haven't seen it, you should go. But as I understand it, she also has a show up in Miami right now in New York as well. So, and I forget the gallery name.
Shadow Gallery.
So, having emigrated from Cuba in 1989 and inhabiting that space between, which attaches itself to all the people living in a foreign land, Maria's multi-ethnic heritage with African, Chinese, and Hispanic ancestors further complicates her ethnic identity. On the one hand, her work seems to problematize identity, but instead of fragmentation, she seems to focus on mixture and hybridization. Her multidisciplinary practice and diverse use of materials speaks to this in a fundamental way, and her 20-plus year collaboration with her partner Neil Leonard, who is a composer and innovator in computer music and sound design, further adds to the mix. And I'm sorry that we didn't ask him to be here today, because they really do work together quite frequently. Her elaborate installations layer objects with video, sound, and performance, all imbued with meaning, both personal and universal. The connections between all these various parts form a network that lends a unifying nature to the work, a nurturing and healing and to contain everything, rather than a divisive choice contained within a simple either-or. In other hands, this mixture could lead to discord, but in the presentation that we are about to see, the resultant works of profound poetry and beauty. Without further ado, I'm happy to welcome Maria Magdalena Campos-Pons.
I want to really thank you, everybody that is in the room this morning, and my 2 co-dialogue participants, Rachel and Selene. I decided to structure the presentation in a other simple way. I saw that maybe it would be valuable for members of the audience who are not familiar with my work, for me to do an overview, very brief, of what had been part of an exhibition that was 20 years in my work took place in 2007 in Indianapolis Museum of Art and Travel. And then I would do a brief introduction of Project FEFA, who started in 2011 and who really led to the project that is now in the Venice Biennale. I'm going to start showing image since there's a lot of material to be seen at the same time that I make a few comments of the work. As I say, hybridity and juxtaposition and complexity of ideas and identity are core of my work. Maybe a way to describe what I think that is more profound and important in what I attempt to do is that I am indeed concerned to research, question, and propose ideas of about how to deal and how to reconstruct trauma. And this is the first time that I say this in public, but I thinking carefully about my work in the last few months. I thinking that I have been indeed concerned about traumatic experience that affect human condition. This is very ambitious to say. This is maybe, I will try not to sound pretentious. When somebody say human condition means so much, but also human condition means something that is very near to you, something that is very close. I always say, I feel that we know the best and the worst of what is in humanity from the heart that be closest to us. So in that idea of how to embrace an overall and large view of humanity, I depart from experiences that are very close to my heart, for things that I am very near to. So I feel that I have a sort of authority, that I could talk about them without being didactic, without being descriptive, but more to encompass a sort of a sensorial capture of emotions that I am trying to give a language through visual arts. That is difficult. That is complex. Because I don't think that my work comes or depart from the object, rather depart from emotions, rather depart from questioning ideas. And that is difficult. That is a complicated set of problems to set on oneself. Furthermore, being a woman of my profile complicated the same for me. It always put me in a position of difficulty and then of opportunities, such as this conversation with you guys today. Everything is separated by water is the piece that gives name to this title, and it's exactly that. A body that is split in half, and in the center is a tower of water as a symbol of separation, of proximity. At the same time that I say that everything is separated by water, I say everything is connected by water. We live by water, we are sustained by water, we know that. But I wanted to comment on that. This is a performance at Riverside Studio in London, 2007, when I was invited to give a lecture at the Tate about a state of a sculpture at the moment. It was called Why Sculpture, Why Here, Why Now? And I did this performance, it's called White Feet, Dry Eyes. The split of Cuba and Cubans in and out of the island has been maybe one of the center question in my practice. But also when I think about that, this performance is all about that. And anytime that you see blue, think ocean, think water, and I will say a little bit more, and then think color. I've climbed, I love him, has been very important in my life, but at the same time too, is the vastity of the ocean that I always was presented with. So we use blue color all the time as a reference. Talking about tree, black pine, white pine, endangered species. I am political by birth, I think, or by the moment that I gain consciousness of being present. My life and everything in my life has been political. I am engaged, I care. I think about the problems that are presented and I don't hide from them. I happen to be in an interracial marriage. So everything that comes with that, I have experienced. And I wanted to do a piece about that without being just political, but rather poetical. So here it is. Everything that is black and voluptuous and feminine, maybe is me. Everything that is phallic and white and blue, maybe is him. And we coexist together in that corner of the space as drawing, as totem, as tree, as forest, as standing the winds that come from presenting or presenting society in that particular way. It was blonde, blue eye, I was, as you see, and so it was an interesting combination. Fragmentation, early pieces. We had seen work from 1990 to 2004. So that piece in the very left is very dear to me. It's called I Am a Fountain, and it's all about women, birth, milking, vagina bleed, sowed, tears. But at the same time is a shape of a heart. And in Latin America, the shape of a heart is very important. I say that Western world in general, there is drama, from the Greeks to the other. In Latin America, is melodrama. And I embrace that. I embrace that as an important part of my work. So you have the heart piercing and separating and bleeding and crying and all of that. But in the lips, from the lips coming words. And the words is, as we know, use the materialization in form of ideas. So yes, women give birth, they cry, they all give pleasure, and they produce ideas, important ideas. These are a combination of a proverb, African proverb, but it says when the heart is trapped, the body is a slave. And I use in this body of work Mesoamerican symbols in that particular area. So this view side will let you see that it's a little bit of a collage, kind of assemblage, kind of a hybrid structure for the piece. I'm going to move a little fast. So this is a piece from 1993. It's part of a series called History of People Who Were Known Heroes, growing up in a slave Iraq. And that goes back to the ancestral part in my family of coming from the Yoruba heritage. And Yoruba people came to the Americas, specific to Cuba, to work in the sugar plantation. So I dedicate an entire body of work to try to understand that trauma and trying to go to it without necessarily claiming a victimization, but more like let's make an analytical perception of that rendering visually. So the door is a sort of vignette of everything that was in the town. That is my homage to Marcel Duchamp, Big Glass, a piece that was very important to me. I wrote about the piece without seeing, and when I came to the United States to study in 1988 at Mass College of Art, my first trip was to Philadelphia to see the piece and to see Duchamp and follow my strange love relationship with him and his work. Because I think, I said I need to talk about influence, perhaps the artist of the 20th century was more important to me as a thinker was Duchamp, and the one that produced more problem for me to question, and then many others. I have a lot of, Frida Kahlo was very important in my life, Cuban, Wilfredo Lam, but Duchamp opened a whole window of problems that was more and more complex. So all the materials in the piece are connected with the town portrait, and every element in that piece is a conversation with the family. So when I describe that piece, I say a sculpture made out of wood, a sculpture that came by and for a conversation with family members. So before it was an object, they were used words in the air, telephone conversations, writing notes, and then the piece come. So this at the time that I say memory is starting to play a very important role in my work. And I will talk later about that when I write to that piece, but memory is fuzzy, is not necessarily stable, it has many, many qualities that I am very intrigued by. The entire piece is clay, glass, and video. And this sort of juxtaposition of material would be a key and a key that will be present in my work constantly. In the center of that, I wish that I have a laser, but I don't have a laser pointer. But I don't know how this works neither. I don't know PCs. I'm a Mac person. But here, this is a whole text over there. And to read the text, you need to go around doing a ring around the rosy. And I was very happy and surprised when this piece was first shown at Harvard, was part of a resident at Harvard. And in the paper, the entire text was printed by the reviewer. So she did the ring around the rosy. What was my intent? To have the viewer doing things that just long as stay quiet, looking front and back, just do a little bit of dancing. It's possible. So the tower. So all the texts are conversation with my mother, my sister, my aunt, and and my aunt. These were the people that I incorporated that. Umbilical cord, I'm going to say only this piece is all members of the family. I'm going to go a little faster. Birth certificate. Birth certificate I use pre-made for a conceptual reason. We are fingerprinted when footprinted when we're born, and fingerprinted when we are an immigrant. I have been fingerprinted all over the planet, and I am no criminal. So I need to do something with this. So I spent almost like 3 months doing that piece. I printed myself, reversed it to print myself again positive, and some people read my palm when they see the piece. And when I made, and then they make an edition of 2. And what is interesting about the piece is the print, but the top is wood, the bottom is glass, and what it says is even if my hands are clenched by wood, my fingerprints are my own, let me be myself, let me search alone. I didn't say that phrase. It's a fragment of a poem of a Cuban poet, Mirta Aguirre. I maybe read that when I was 13, 14, never left my mind. It was a little bit like, this is what I want to do. Even if I need to go by hard moments and make mistakes in search of myself, ready for it. And in any case, I wanted to do it in the piece, so it's in wood, in Spanish, and English, in glass. I always feel the vulnerability of my faulty English. This piece is, it was an homage to my father. It's called the Herbalist Tools. Every one of these columns stayed by a tree that was in my backyard. The palm, ceiba, the almácigo, and the ceiba, almácigo, and palms. And the royal palm is, a national tree in Cuba. The ceiba is a sacred tree in Cuba. And the almácigo is a healing tree in Cuba. It has a sap. This tree look in the outside the way that I did it inside. Have a sap that is have a sort of antibiotic. And if you cut yourself, you put the sap of the tree and it heals you. Again here I have visited Duchamp. They had a piece by Duchamp that is called Etant Donné at the Philadelphia Museum. It's a little hole and then the whole thing happened behind. These trees have holes in it. And if you get closer to them, they are entirely narrative inside them. And the outside bark of the tree is what is inside. So I kind of reverse the relation of the piece. In the tops are glass containers, which refer to serve to spiritual beings in the Yoruba tradition. And I painted entire forest of Cuba in the walls. And the botanical prints are real Cuban plants that my mother smuggled to the country. We are bad people. So when you enter this room, all these are fresh plants. So this is a smell and sound, and it's a kind of a very, I always have wanted to live with that piece, but never have the opportunity of the privilege with, because it's a very large installation, and but maybe one day I will live with it. So in this window here, this is our own different trees of Cuba forest. And then this image is important because it started the series of Polaroids. I have been working with the Polaroid camera for the last 20-something years. I was introduced to it when I was a student at Mass College of Art. We have one of the camera. As you know, it's an instant camera like the little one that you have, but in a very large format. And they have one in New York that I use since maybe the last 15 years. And the Polaroid have two things that were interesting to me. Luscious surface, very painterly quality, and it gave me the opportunity to do a film that I could see it immediately, destroy it, not too often, because they are so expensive. But in case that I don't like it, I could immediately redo it again, and it goes very close to my own interesting in practice of performance. So every one of my Polaroid photograph is a performative, constructed investigation. That one is called Identity Could Be a Tragedy. And what I could say about that, I come to age as an artist in the time of discussion of political identity or identity politics, whatever we want to call it. And for me, at some point, was a moment that I feel suffocated. Yes, I am black, and I know it. Yes, I am woman, and I know it. Yes, I am Cuban, and I know it. Yes, I'm a minority, and I know it. I am a human being. I breathe, I drink, I love, I suffer, I urinate, I poop, like everybody else. That's what defines me. Fundamentally, not just that I am black or woman or Cuban or minority. I am a human being. So for that reason, I call that piece Identity Could Be a Tragedy, and in the search of it, it disappears. So the last frame in the picture is nothing. So for me was, if all the focus is in identity, everything gone, it's obliterated, it's disappeared. So more Polaroids. Color is very important for me. These were yellow, investigation, chromatic, really chromatic investigation, white, and I tell you what the connection to Yoruba they are. We have in the Yoruba tradition color code to celebrate the orishas, the goddess, and I am pretty interested in that. So blue is Yemaya, yellow is Ochun. Yemaya is a mother, is a fig, is a mother figure. But this is me breastfeeding and pumping milk to my son. I did that piece after I have him, and I was feeling all the time that I was either breastfeeding or pumping. So I feel like a cow, and I made that piece that is like that. I feel like a walking cow. He's 20 now, done. So this is a very important piece for me. This is the second version of a piece that I did in the early 90s. I went back to the archive and looked at the map that the British abolitionists circulate in behalf of really loving to end slavery. And when I saw the map, the real map, my reaction was of incredible beauty and incredible sense of economic austerity. So, two things that were very present there was minimal thinking. It was how to put the mask in the minimal space, and it was terrifying, no? But it was at the same time beauty. There is an incredible beauty in this image. I spent an entire year at that time, 1991 to 92, in my basement in Boston, carving this piece carefully. It's sugar pine. One of the beauty of this piece is that when you are in the room, it smells delicious. I saw the piece after many years and being in a collection in Canada when the retrospective opened, and I was very emotional about it. This is the main map, and this is how male, women, children would be placed in the shape. When I had the first opportunity to go to Gorée Island in Dakar, Senegal in 2004, I cry a lot. I just cry, but my name is Maria Magdalena. I'm supposed to cry. But there is a funny story. I was there with three artists. I was there with David Hammonds and Pamela C. And I tell you this because this is funny. So after I cry, and I say, no, I cannot work in this side. I was there to see the side, to decide where I'm going to work. To work, cannot touch that side. In the way back from Gorée in the boat, I saw Pamela C. and she had a gorgeous necklace. Gorgeous necklace. And I say, Pamela, where did you get that? And she said, wow, you were crying. So, anyway, to be an excellent time. So this is all Polaroid from a series called Nesting, and this is a piece that is called Abridor de Caminos. I'm going to say something very simple about that piece. I am interested in the kind of sequences that could be created with the Polaroid from shot 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, in this case 10. And in a way, I am interested in the kind of cinematographic capacity of that to construct a narrative. More Polaroids. The 7 Powers Come by the Sea. This is a piece with African beads, soil from many places, and African beads very early. This is 1990. Any place that is colored is African beads in here. And they are all the different origins. I'm going to go fast because they have more material to see. Nesting, all the birds that are from New England, they are folklore-made birds. My theory here is, my idea here is freedom of the bird is constructed, is going both ways, or have wings but cannot fly. And then this piece was very important for me because it was about drawing, sculpting with the hair, and with the African hair, with my dreadlocks, and creating lines that are doodles that are out of hair. So this is out of hair. And again, I found repeating myself that the body is split in half, but it took me a long time to see it. I call this little area here the family room. This is a sacred family. It's my son with us, my mother and myself in a piece called replenishing in the form of letter H for home, house, hogar. And the meaning of this piece, Sacred Family, we were in Galleria Borghese in Rome, looking at Caravaggio, and my son was very small. And when we finished seeing the exhibition, he said to me, "Mom, do you notice that Caravaggio always have the light in the same direction?" I run to the gallery, look at everything again, and saw that, and I couldn't believe it. And I said, I have been studying Caravaggio in my history. I know that chiaroscuro is very important, but this observation, body catalog. So they made that piece with the light coming always in the same direction in homage to Arcadio, my little genius. At that point. So, meanwhile, the guy were playing, is three circles referring to three ladies' dresses in the floor with the color that they wear, and in there's 4 video narrative here, a video here, video in the center, and a video over there. And everything is pate vert glass, which bull eyes glass, which is a very colorful palette, literally allows you to paint with glass. Here's a detail, and it goes from fabric to glass. So these are embroidered and then glass. I have been spoken something with Mama, 2008, 7, embroidered. And I'm going to get in and say video, and every single one of these sheets has a text here embroidered that says for whom the woman did the work. Better see the piece that way. This is you, the viewer, and this is the videos in the front, and the other pile was in the back here. All right. Here again, photograph, 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 video, 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 and embroidered. I am interested in layering. I am interested in juxtaposing. I am interested in using a video as a material that refers not only to technology, but have a conversation with painting, which I come in from too. So when I threw a video on top of a surface that already have a photograph, I am thinking in the idea of almost a layer of glazing, a layer in which light reveal material that is down and enhance other material. Glass, glass, glass. Now, why glass? Well, because memory, fuzzy, fragile, vulnerable, resilient, elegant, aunt, grandmother, grandmother. Spoken softly with Mama. This piece was in New York at MoMA, then Venice 2001 is in Canada. These are very large Polaroids, very large, larger than this entire wall. And the idea in these pieces is really, all the lines are made with hair, black hair. It was a period of big conversation about hair was, medicine was called. And I'm always thinking, gorgeous, beautiful, never do anything to it. I stopped doing anything in my hair when I was 15, except doing my dreadlocks, but never using anything to change it. But that is the personal decision. However, I always say that I would love to see Michelle Obama with dreadlocks. And this one is called a Red Rhapsody. And it's about passion. It's about being again a little bit of the heart in here. And this one is called Elevata. I was coming back to America after living in Italy for an entire year in Padua. in a studio very close to Giotto Stravini Chapel. And I would go there and they would let me see it alone. And I was coming back totally fascinated with Fresco and Raphael and everybody. And I wanted to be one of them. So, so I did elevata. And elevata means something in Italy, but it's used above, no? So this piece, this is in Harvard and Indianapolis. This one is classic Creole. It was exactly after I went to Africa. Constellation, we will be displayed at the show that opened October 24, Our America, at the Smithsonian Museum. And I will be giving a lecture there February 28. Constellation is again abstraction, painterly, out of hair and photography. And that has been for me a very important issue about the limits of photography and the conversation with other media. So here, both of them. This piece I call it twice, different title. Mil Maneras to Say Goodbye was premiered at Selene Wendt Museum in Oslo, and then went to Senegal. Or 2000, Mil Maneras, 1,000 ways of saying goodbye, of threads of memory. There are 5 video projections. The entire room is lit only by the video. In front of the video are these structures who are a kind of windows referring to the architecture of the Caribbean. And always, I need to move quickly. And always there are this, you are behind here, no? What I want to say about that piece, it was both a reference to water, a reference to distance, a reference to encounter. And something that I say about memory is horizontal, feminine, always present, never leave. So I'm going to end this PowerPoint here. And if I am allowed, I don't know, I don't really have time because I need to let my co-speakers speak. I'm going to go quickly to this, right? And open, should I land this here? And I am moving to our collaboration and FEFA. And I'm going to read it, so we are going very quickly. FEFA is an alter ego constructed as a hybrid reminiscence of Cuban cultural complexities and Campos-Pons personal history. FEFA takes on the figure of the pregonero street crier, voicing new products, but the philosophical, political, and daily laments of the 54 years of entrapment of the Cuban families in and out of the island. Familia, FEFA, family in el exterior, familia fuera. But something else too. Only the first part is fe, which in Spanish means faith. This is described, the installation took place at Wilfredo Land Center, a performance for the opening of the Wilfredo Land Center, and a competition of pregoneros that, given this vernacular art location within Cuban culture, a place of relevance. And a month later, we did the presentation. A pregonero competition took place in the national television for the first time. This piece helped with the idea of increased legalization of small business. The pregonero transformed the sound case in Cuba and using idiosyncratic ancient vocal form for marketing strategy that highlights the void of business in controlling Cuba. This is the first video of the pregoneros. I'm going to use to show the image, and I'm going to show one of them in the end. This is the first pregonero in the Casa de las Américas, me collaborating with them. This is one of my pregoneros. He does channel number 5.
Now number 5.
Correct. I don't know how he gets channel number 5, but he's going around explaining that. I wanted to bring him together, but they didn't let me because I think it would have been marvelous in Spain. He's here with his perfume. This is when he's getting detained by the police. And then we did a competition. The competition was with these 3 categories: use of poetry, music, and promotion of FEFA. The bureau were a very important Cuban musician, los hermanos Arangos, Manuel Blanco. This is, I am here with the pregonero discussing how we're going to move. This is the American curator. You recognize it. Yeah. These are my pregoneros again, what daily conversations. I don't know that this is playing. Yes? Garlic, onion, cumin. My onion is very good. Buy now. Don't cry later that you didn't get it. It's the best onion that you get. So then I play this one, and I need to finish it. A flower called campanilla for the very young lady, honey for the old ladies. I say, please buy it. So this is the performance of Wilfredo Land, Neil Lennon introducing it. These are anybody who is yellow. I'm my student who I brought from the museum school in Boston to work with us. We made bread in Cuba to deliver it so this is our bread here. This is the uterus and Fefa in the middle. I'm going to go, this is the pregoneros we put the pregonero in the third floor, which is the plano, ¿cómo dice? Piso nobile. How do you say that in English? Correct, the ground floor. The ground floor, because the pregoneros never will be in the ground floor, so they were there presenting his product. And this is the second performance in the Malecon. Here is my lovely husband performing, and these are us performing. What is important here is that this image never had taken place in Havana. Oops. To have this pregonera, which is a mix of Chinese, Asian, African in Malecon. I'm going to stop because what I'm going to do, let me see if I can get out of here because I need to let the other ladies talk. And I'm going to open the ArtTable PowerPoint, and I'm going to let my co-speakers talk about it. Have the image happen. Wow. I'm going to let both Selene and Rachel talk about this piece because they were very much engaged in the preparation of this is Pepper in Havana, but what is next, this is the flag. The piece in Venice was called 53 plus 1 equals 54 plus 1, 55, period, letter of the year. And the letter of the year is how the Yoruba people decide that every year have a name, a flag, a meaning. This is the flag of the year. Pink and blue. It's at the package that Fefa brought to Cuba, and I tell you later if you have time what the package contains. And we are in Venice now, so I let you guys enter. So, or should I show the pieces in Venice?
No, I don't think you should.
Okay. So the reason I put this image first is because when I arrived to that room in the Piazza San Marco, room of emperors. The entire fresco in the top of the floor of the ceiling was pink and blue, the color of the year. I didn't choose that room. It was given to me. So I saw, oh, that is so beautiful. So
And then where it came blue.
today, yes, and I am consistent. So the piece is all video that. Howlers or bird cages that contain small video narrative of people living in Cuba. They are asking if they have family abroad, what their aspiration are, what they expect, what they want. And always this little fragment of textile, which are measurement of distance between Cuba, Africa, Cuba, Venice, Cuba, America, all those what I call latitude, longitude of separations. And bird cages are both the architecture of the bird in entrapment, the architecture of the bird as in a moment of discomfort. So they are audio, that is inside of there, and these are the emperors and nuns. So this is Antonia, the mother of Claudio, who I used to juxtapose to my image, the fresco. What I did was to create islands and harbors, so you could travel to that installation. I hope that you guys all go to Venice. The piece is there until November 24th. I am assuming that some of you already have been in Venice. I really believe that if you go, you're going to be very happy.
Rach, how did you interact with this particular piece?
I started working with Magda and Neil and Stefan in the gallery only in about April. One of the most impressive things about all art and organization in Cuba is that it happens very quickly with very little notice and no funding. And Magda is a guerrilla artist and fundraiser, and obviously has shown her brilliance in and depth of ideas and concepts over a whole lifetime. I wanted to help the second I sat down around the table with Magda and Neil and heard some of the ideas, and wanted to help produce the pavilion for Magda. The Cuban pavilions only existed as part of the Venice Biennale twice. This is the second time Cuba's been able to participate. And it was definitely the best pavilion in the entire program, even though many people could never find it.
And I'm going to tell you how you find it. It's in the Piazza San Marco. I keep showing image me while you guys talk, because this is the performance in the Piazza San Marco, and what I want to say about that, any of you could talk about the performance because you saw it.
Yeah.
Yes, totally guerrilla. You cannot get Piazza San Marco. Cuba, I received the invitation to the Biennale in January. By January, every other pavilion have they sign, define, settle.
January 13th.
So I needed to do a performance in a guerrilla way. And I become friend with the manager of the Fiorian Cafe, who now made us members. They give us the tag and the peaches from they give me an entire packet of Fiorian memorabilia because after the performance, because they told that we share that cafe. And I didn't choose all the image, but we have the entire band that we brought playing in the cafe for the first time ever. They allowed that to happen. And when the manager of the cafe told me, yes, I will help you, because the Biennale de Venecia born in this site, in Piazza de San Marco. So the fact that you want to do this performance, they were very excited. I have every business around Piazza de San Marco helping. I mean, if the sauna was ready, I have many people who could help. We used a Bauer Hotel with a Stefan assistant to change and all of that. And Piazza San Marco is intimidated, completely intimidated. So I was very nervous, and I was, so we walked in a procession from Cafe Bauer, Hotel Bauer, all the way to the Piazza.
Was it during the opening processions, Magda?
That was the opening of the Cuban Pavilion. And it rained in Venice every single day, every single minute, until a second that we start this performance. It stopped raining like a miracle. And I don't know how, because this hair piece was made in collaboration with a hairdresser in Venice, and he needed to deliver it to me, and he needed to bring it in a big plastic bag because it was raining. So, what to say about the elements here, the cultural importance? I am wearing an emperor gun from China. I am making a piece, a hair piece that is an interpretation of a Yoruba hair piece. And if I show maybe a few other images, that I will come back there, that's Havana, but I wanted to put it in there because Aqua Alta happened when we finished the performance.
I think it's important to note that there are musicians that came from an Afro-Cuban neighborhood outside of Havana called Guanabacoa, and Neil, her husband and partner, and some Venetian dancers. So it wasn't just Magda, in the procession. As we walked down the street from our hotel, the crowd gathered around the music and everyone was very curious, and by the time we got to the plaza, it was quite a crowd. And then all of these people, after 10 or 15 minutes of the performance in the plaza, came up the stairs around the corner and opened the Cuban pavilion.
And the police was coming. We had no permission. The Biennale came just about the end of the performance, and one of the students told the Carabinieri that the permit is, we forgot it in the Bauer Hotel, so by the time the student pretended he was running to the hotel, the musicians went on the stage of the Florian Cafe and played their act, and the pavilion opened.
So
It was just miracle after miracle after miracle.
But the interesting thing is we have everything documented. We have the students talking with the police. I mean, it's a very good material, but it's really wonderful.
Was this part of a ritual piece, also the procession?
What I want to say about, what I want to say about FIP, I wanted to really take over Piazza San Marco. And a very ambitious idea, but I knew that no artist, performing artist, had used Piazza San Marco in the history of the piazza. And that was a piazza that has every element that I am interested in culturally. In San Marco, African, Asian, and European met, trade as equal. When the merchants of Africa arrived in San Marco, they were no book comprar. They were very rich merchants arriving with beautiful goods, not seen in this part of the world as equal. And I did a whole project with Selene, maybe talk about Sonokwi, that is about the situation in which African male found themselves currently in the street of Veneto as street vendors illegal. So that is really, really opposed. So I am in the room of the emperors out there in the installation. So I come with the emperor's vest from China and trying to really just oppose. And I am wearing, which is not in this picture, I wanted to show you that, Sergio Rossi sandals. Because Sergio Rossi is the Veneto mayor's shoemaker. So you need to put this juxtaposition as a cultural. So I only settled for 2 pair of shoes. I was thinking Prada, but then I say no. Sergio Rossi. And I bought these sandals one, now eventually one day we go to a museum. I just wear it in Venice for that opening and haven't worn it ever again. And I spent a lot of money then, but it was about the significance of putting together these 2 elements in the body of a woman who coming from the Caribbean, from an island, who is the great-great-granddaughter of a slave, the great-great-great-granddaughter of Chinese immigrants, and the great-great-granddaughter of some kind of a white guy that coming to my family. so that kind of we were global before globalization was considered such. And I wanted to talk about that, and that my work trying to embrace that with a way that is identity has so many layers, complexity. I have not used black or used woman. I wanted to actually be a male in that performance, but decided not to do that. So they are about this. I want Selene to talk because
yeah, there are a lot of things that I want to say. Sitting here and hearing you talk about your entire artistic practice during the past 20 years has been a little difficult because I've been working with you for so many years. And it was a wonderful presentation, very quick. For those of you who don't know her work from before, I hope you captured all the, or received all the innuendos and the subtleties of her work. Because I think what really makes Magda's work so special is the interconnectivity between all of the works. Each work is strong on its own, but when you look at the parallels between different works, you see the subtle nuances, the repetition of certain themes, the reconsiderations of certain dialogues and issues that you repeatedly turn back to. As such,
Venice and the project you did there is really a culmination of so many things that you've done throughout your career. And for me, when I look back at some of the more important works you've done, I see beautiful similarities between, in your presentation you referred to Mil Maneras, which was the beautiful video installation with the polymer, what would you call it, like a grid that is to look like the colonial windows in Cuba. And you revisited that topic in a recreation of the work in Senegal for Dakar 2004. And that was really interesting and moving on so many different levels. Well, for one, because it relates to what you're interested in as a whole, but it had a double meaning as well because it was an imaginary return to Africa. You had never been there before, but it had an extremely emotional power on you, as you relayed in your anecdote about you were crying when Pamela was buying jewelry. But it's very interesting to see how, with that transition from the one work to the next, the first one was very personal, and your work is all, it's deeply entrenched in post-colonial theory, and you constantly navigate the ever-shifting terrain of displacement, but it's also very universal, and the issues that you address have relevance for everybody. So it's not only about identity issues, but you make it very personal. And you made the transition from Mil Maneras to Threads of Memory very personal, because it was almost as if you treated the African surroundings as if it was your daily surroundings. And always divine intervention when it comes to you. So, of course, what was your site? It was an abandoned textile factory, which is incredible because Magda can work in any medium, as most of you probably know. She can work photography, works on paper, installations, video, textiles, you name it, performance, she does it better than anybody else. And always returning to textiles for you to make that installation in an abandoned textile factory with these historical roots, the personal roots, all of these nuances that came out throughout the work is just incredibly moving. So in the end, you transformed rickety old sewing machines into gorgeous sculptures. It was literally Magda doing magic as she transforms any site-specific place, this abandoned factory, into literally a castle of dreams. And then, I have so much to say, so I won't babble on, but what I find really interesting is this interconnectivity. So it's Cuba, Nigeria, China, Italy, Norway, and it always back and forth, constant ebb and flow. And we're always sort of in this betwixt and between. And shortly after you created those works, you created Sono Qui. Then you were in Italy. And the reason I mention this work, even though it wasn't pictured or featured in your retrospective exhibition, is that I think that was the very moment when you became conscious of being an artist who is not only interested in identity issues, but who is globally aware about social themes and issues, about the plight of others, about the capacity of art to make change, and actually embrace the possibility of doing that, not only visually, but actively. And I think it's worth telling the story of how that happened, because as Magda mentioned, she was on the residency in Italy, and instead of creating something that was maybe a symbol of how she was inspired by being in Italy, she created something that also involved a very intimate meeting with the immigrants that are all over Europe, who are denied the actual existence that being in Europe means. They are the people who have, they make their living on selling counterfeit products. And these are the people that most people just walk by as quickly as possible, not thinking about who they are or their plight in life. And of course, Magda became intimately knowledgeable about their daily lives and what they were doing. So she created these wonderful works using cut-ups. She cut up the, I don't know if I can say Louis Vuitton, they might come after me, but she cut up the Louis Vuitton bags. Maybe some others too. We'll stick in Chanel so we don't get in trouble. And she made beautiful portraits of these individuals, incorporating these counterfeit items into big works. And it was so powerful because it enabled us to look at these people, these individuals that she had come to know in a completely different way. And I think it was with that work that you really became conscious of this global awareness, that you are a cosmopolitan artist with interest in those other than yourself. You're interested in the local, you're interested in finding ways to make a difference. And that transfers also to what you did in Cuba. And that's what's wonderful, because you weren't just making a performance, you did an intervention, you involved local people, you did something that made a difference. So rather than just saying something, making a picture and hanging it on the wall, you make a difference. And that is really, as far as I'm concerned, the most important aspect of interconnectivity that is in your work. And more, it's coming out. You see that with each collaboration you have with your husband, Neil Leonard, and it's wonderful because it's transnational, it's global, it's aware, it's conscious, and it's beautiful above and beyond everything else. And it's really interesting to see that with Venice. You've come full circle, because if you look back to 1998, a very seminal and important work that you mentioned in your presentation, When I Am Not Here, Estoy Allá. And now I think Cuba is not there, Cuba is here, more and more, because you've managed to sort of bridge that wide gap in a way that is ever more present in your work, and it's powerful. So you even brought Cuba to Venice. Sorry, that was
No,
beautiful.
I think it's beautiful. Do you have any plans to visit Russia soon?
I have no
I think they
invitation.
need to.
But I thank you so much for those comments and observations. I mean, it's really been some very important idea for me to condense that in a very beautiful way, in a very wonderful way. So thank you for coming all the way from Oslo to the ArtTable, which she did. So thank you.
Question. What happened to the pigeons in San Marco Square when you did the procession?
When they saw me, they went, no. No. It was really, what I say about raining, it was, this past June was totally abnormal. It rained in Venice every single day. And this performance was 15 minutes before 5 p.m. May 31st.
Yes.
It stopped raining 4:42. Literally, it stopped raining at that moment. And it was something, remember, it was something really abnormal. So if there were not many pigeons in the Plaza Plus, I stayed very close to the Cafe Florian, in which I had made a negotiation, because the police was there, and we were really concerned that we're going to get in trouble. And not only us going to get in trouble, the director of the Museum of Archaeology was very concerned. And as I performed, the students are distracting the police to let me do the rest of the group, the scene. So it wasn't really, we did 20 minutes, that's it. And then we went to our venue. But my dream was to go all to the center of the plaza. But when I'm inside the installation in the third floor, and I am finishing the installation, making a call to Yemaya, the god of the water, and the god of maternity and fertility in the Yoruba tradition. And I say, show your power. Because, but let me say you what I say that, because we are in a room that is only male. All the emperors of the Roman Empire are there, and the only woman in the room is his mother. So for me it was very important to make a piece that was fragile, delicate, feminine, but really sturdy and strong. So I called this intentionally, and magic happened again. The other side of the plaza get agua alta in like 3 seconds. It was like, we couldn't believe it. People say, look, the water is coming, and it was flood by the time they got the other side, not our side. So it was a really side taking. It was like a taking side there, but it was very interesting, and for me it was very beautiful in a way, because I am fascinated by water and the force of water and the meaning of water, and Venice is a floating literacy. And my piece, a little floating island in that room. So it was a really beautiful symbol of conversation, of something that I'm going to mention last, but no less important in my work, spirituality. I am a very strong believer of spirituality, and the reason that I, as Selene said, I am not just doing work to hang in the wall. I am doing work that I'm living with people in every single one of my exhibitions. That was in Venice too. We give art to people in the opening all the time. I was planning to bring art for you today, but I changed my mind. But in a way, I was thinking of that. Because, and I really, one of the artists that is very important to me with that was Félix González Torres. I was very moved by his idea, by his attempt to create access to work in different forms. And I am very, very, very intrigued by the idea of an artist as an actor of inviting possibility of thinking and interacting with the world different. And I was ready to use the word change, but in the last minute I say no, don't use change. I want to be somebody who create questions for other people as well. And inquire and desire to see things differently in a way. And I was thinking today when I was traveling here, in many times in the history of art and in the period of art have described as no necessity, useless. In my time, I am interested in art that responds to necessity and a sense of use and a sense of present that have. I don't have a word that is not practical, but I want to be present and of resource in a way. I want to be somebody who creates solutions through aesthetic thinking, through philosophical thinking, to be part of conversation. I would love to do Joseph Boyd piece and a reenactment in which I talk for 100 days about things that I feel that are important with people that want to hear. So, that's funny. but it's really where my heart is. It's what I am thinking, and for that reason I haven't quit teaching. Not because it's a forum in which ideas are always in a play of contest, with ideas are always questioned, ideas are always removed in a way. So I am done. Thank you. Oh, so when you arrive to the Piazza San Marco, you need to pay 60 euros for that. Museum courier, and then you need to walk, and please don't stop walking until you find inside the museum courier, Museum of Archaeology, room number 10, I think now, and
10?
I believe that is 10, but it's the room of emperors.
Okay.
And it's above the cafe.
And it's exactly above Foliani. And Anthony Caro Diagocian is next door, so it's a reason got on your wishes. And I know that you're going to be disappointed because you paid for you to see your Biennale and then they make you pay again to see the Cuban Pavilion, but you will be so happy.
I just want to say before everyone gets up and runs out, our next artist talk is going to be Liza Liu. She's coming in from Durban, and she is on her way to, I believe it's San Diego, but she is stopping in New York and will be here to do the next.
Could I say something?
Yes.
Selene Wendt has showed in her program, Lisa Liu, Suya Kin, and me together in the same show.
So there is no accident.
The same exhibition. And we met, we went all together in Oslo.
Where?
And what year was that? 99, and it was called Art Through the Eye of the Needle. There are other women that were there. So we mentioned to use it.
Oh, sure.
Dada Mayer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember the
Actually,
other ones.
we've had the pleasure of having Gada here with us at ArtTable.
But it's really, it was amazing that you mentioned these three because we think Suya, we were there and Lisa and
We're very excited. Liza's actually going to be doing kind of a performance thing with her book as well, so it's a little bit different. She will be presenting images, but it will be a little more performative. It's November 30th. Today is October 30th. Are there any announcements by the ArtTable folks? My webinar program.
Briefly, very quickly, our upcoming programs, we have lots coming up for the fall, so everyone should read all their emails from us. Next week, we have a paper making workshop on Monday, and that's going to be actually hands-on paper making the Here and Paper at Dieudonné, and also a viewing of their collections archive. Tuesday, we have a meet at and a movable feast fundraising dinner at the home of Betsy Miller, and there are a few places left. And that fundraises for our career development programs. And then we also have a tour of Wave Hill on Friday morning, the 27th. And we're going to see the renovated Wave Hill house, and there are 2 exhibitions that are up. And that's just September, so.
So I have a question.
Wave Hill, well worth seeing.
I want to know how many people have seen my exhibition at Estoyano. Alright, so I want to be sure that everybody stopped there. And also, I want to know how many people plan to go to Venice. Thank you so much. You're going to have a great time. Also, anybody want to go to Boston?